It's that time of the year at the Meadows. It is Australian Cup time and we've got week one of the carnival this Saturday night at the Meadows, headlined by the two Group 1 invitationals, the Temlee for the sprinters and the Zoom Top for the stayers. We're here today to preview both of those big ones this coming Saturday night. My name's Jason Adams. I'm joined by Corey Smith from the Meadows. And Smithy, it's a big period of time for the club. For a long time, this was a signature event. Now the Phoenix is around. It's a bit different, but still a massive part of what the MGRA looks like.
Yeah, huge part of our year. The Australian Cup Carnival is a bit different to what the rest of our races are. We're used to the Top Guns. We're used to the Phoenixes, which are a bit of the one-and-done style races where they're just one-week series. But the Australian Cup Carnival, 3 weeks, 5 Group 1s across those 3 weeks. It's just a massive time of the year, and I can't wait to get stuck into it this weekend.
It's going to be a big night. Of course, the Australian Cup heats on the card as well, which are going to be sensational. Also joined by Molly Haines. And Molly is a greyhound racing purist, as we all are. It is a really special time of the year.
It sure is. I think what I love about the Australian Cup Carnival is that there are stories from every angle and, you know, without a doubt, there is going to be tears. And I think that's what I love most about it.
Yep, 100%. All right, 2 Group 1s a preview. The first of them will be the Temlee for the sprinters, where the Hollywood red carpet gets rolled out for this lot, and we know it's been won by some of the greats of the sport in the past. And how can we forget, as we just saw in the opener, the win of Explicit last year has set up such an amazing 2024. This is the way the honour roll looks, Molly, and there is superstars littered throughout this thing. And as we know, there's a list of greyhounds that wouldn't be out of place this year on that honour roll.
Without a doubt, there's some huge names, but I need to draw both of your attention to 2014, Zelmar Fever. There was no way we're going to get through this without me mentioning Zelmar Fever. It was an honour to be a part of that, and I think I see her name, I think of Linda Britton, and I'm just glad I can be a part of going through this race today.
Nothing beats it being a part of the big race, especially the Temlee where they're handpicked. Let's take a look at the lineup that will do battle this Saturday night, Smithy. And we just saw the honour roll, and as I said before, there is no name on there that's going to be out of place for the 2025 edition.
No, absolutely. We saw last year's winner, Explicit, strut his stuff for the Thompsons and went on to bigger and better things in the Melbourne Cup and the Phoenix later that year. He's now retired, but the Thompson camp is represented very, very nicely indeed, with 3 runners: Flying Zulu from 1, Tim Zoo and Excavation from 7 and 8, Smooth Plane from 2 for the Dailies, 3 is Hotel Whiskey 1, 4 Vincent Bale, 5 Lakeview Emily, 6 Day Seas Rory. So all those names, it gets me nice and excited talking about them. And then of course Morton and Scalacci as well, who are both superstars in their own right, and they're only the reserves this year at this stage.
Gunfield, as expected, for a hand-picked invitational. Of course, the box draw is all important. We had that last Monday afternoon. We're going to go through these runners one by one. Starting off with a runner in box 1, Molly, Flying Zulu, has done some very special things of recent time.
He absolutely has. Look, this is a greyhound who well and truly deserves his spot in this field. I think what I really enjoy about watching this dog race is the fact he doesn't necessarily jump out of the boxes superbly, but as soon as he hits the ground, it's just next level. He's off and gone, and what a record from box 1 too. I reckon 6 wins from 7 starts. Not a bad box to come up against.
Well, throughout 2024, he almost raced in the shadow of his kennel mates in Tim Zoo and also Explicit Smithy, but his form recently has been sublime, and no bigger highlight than his win at Sandown Park.
Yeah, absolutely. This was unbelievable. We see him just, as Molly mentioned, doesn't exactly nail it out of the boxes, but he just takes off once he hits the ground. Box 1's going to suit there. He had box 4 on this occasion. And some of the runners that are in behind him in this race, you see Big Energy, who's one of the fastest dogs that we have seen in recent times. He's chasing him, but he's chasing in vain. And Flying Zulu, he just puts the foot down, particularly in that middle part of the race. His 300, his 400 metre splits are just absolutely off the charts. And he's strong enough in the run home as well. You see that curly tail out in front, and there's not many that can catch him from there.
100%. The 3rd fastest time ever seen at Sandown Park did Flying Zulu put together. Now to move on to the runner from box 2, and that is the mighty Smooth Plane. Molly, who's been in great form of note. His campaign in Queensland didn't end it the way Team Daly wanted it to be, but still performed admirably.
What a dog this greyhound is. I think we'd be hard-strapped to find anyone who doesn't enjoy watching this dog go around. He's an iron greyhound, and I think he certainly deserves his place in this field. Dailies have done the Australian Cup a few times, and maybe it's his chance.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an absolute star, isn't he, Patch? He's a dog that I think lots of people have probably underrated him for long periods of time. But when he came out on this particular night, the Cup night sprint, and up against some of the dogs that he'll be facing on Saturday night, he just blew them away. And the way that he did it was a little bit unusual. He nailed the start. He came out in about 495 to the first section, which is low flying. I can't expect to see him to do that again. I think that was a bit of an outlier. But the strengths that he does, that he shows week in, week out, are his middle sectors and this run home as well. He's flown around the Meadows. We saw that in his his exhibition trial leading up to the Phoenix, and he was absolutely enormous in the world's richest greyhound race in December as well. And you could argue he's gone from strength to strength over the last few months.
Yep, exactly right. He's been tested of most recent time too, going through that Gold Bullion Carnival up in Brisbane, but Team Daly prepare him like warriors, so he'll be ready to rock in the Temlee this Saturday night. Now to move on to the runner from box number 3, which is Hotel Whiskey 1. Molly, a greyhound who's likely to inject a lot of early speed into this race.
Without a doubt. I don't think there's any opposition to the fact that he's going to be out in front in this race. It's very, very rare to see this greyhound towards the back of the field, and I think Anthony Azzopardi has a really good chance on his hands. The only thing that worries me about Hotel Whiskey 1 is we see his form over 400, not necessarily over 500, but it's the age-old question: would you prefer a greyhound that can jump out in front, or would you prefer a greyhound maybe like a Smooth Plain who does have that strength behind him?
Let's take a look at the way he does race, Smithy, and this was in a recent win at the Meadows where he jumped from box 6, which you'd have to say is something he's suited to.
Yeah, he's got good records from inside draws, but that's because he's a good dog. I think he probably is suited better from a wide draw. He comes up with box number 3 on Saturday night, and what really excites me about this greyhound is the splits that he can put down. He went 497 early. He goes 1748 down the back. They are Fernando Bale-like splits, and if you're running Fernando Bale-like splits, you're going to be really hard to beat. He does tire a little bit late. You see the greyhounds coming at him. He's going to face stiffer opposition on Saturday night than he will in that race that he saw there, but he's going to be out in front, and as Molly said, maybe that's the key.
Yep, 100%. And if you're drawn outside of him, it's not a great position to be in, given he's got speed and he wants to be in that middle part of the track. Now to move on to the runner from box 4, and that is the mighty Vincent Bale, Molly, where he went through that maturity series last year. He looked like a good dog. He's gotten even better in the past couple of months.
The times he's put on the board at the moment are just out of this world, and I think what I really can't get past is the Grenfell family behind it, Anarchy. All I can imagine when he's running those really strong races to the end is all of the kids cheering behind the TV, or maybe it's at the track as well. So I think the family would love nothing more than to pick up a Temlee, one of these invitational races. It's certainly something they really hold really high and something they want to achieve, so Vincent Bale might be that chance for them.
Indeed, they've had a good run, the Grenfells, over the past 5 years, whether that be through Tiggerlong Tonk, whether that's be through Orson Allen as well. And now Vincent Bale comes to the fore, Smithy, and he's a powerful unit, isn't he? And we're going to take a look at his win in the Cranbourne Cup going back to the latter part of 2024.
And this is probably where he really stamped his authority as a dog that was going places. He's always had the ability. He's kind of known to do a few things wrong, particularly early on in his career. But from box 5 here, he navigated his way through beautifully, and he chased down some really high caliber greyhounds. You see Flying Zulu on his hammer as well, who will go into this race as one of the favourites. But Vincent Bale managed to burn him off. Morton as well was in this race. Kingsley Bale was leading, and he's just so tough, particularly late. He's a dog that set the 3rd fastest time that we've ever seen on the racetrack at the Meadows recently. He is absolutely flying. He's been 2nd in the Gold Bullion a couple of weeks ago as well. You couldn't ask for better form to be going into a Temlee.
And if you're leading a Temlee, you do not want one like Vincent Bale on your tail, because he will get home like a runaway train, as we know. Now to move on to the runner in box 5, that is Lakeview Emily, Molly, who's had some, I guess, drama surrounding her over the past few weeks with the scratching due to seasonal reasons back at the Golden Ticket Series at Albion Park, but she's been cleared of that, and she'll line up this Saturday night from box 5.
Absolutely. I'm stoked that she's going to take part in this race. I believe the vetted cleared out a race after that, so it was great to see her name pop up. And look, she's racing for one of the nicest families in greyhound racing, especially Monique Wheel, and I don't think there's any secret how lovely she is. This is a greyhound who also has fantastic early speed. If she's out in front, there's not too many greyhounds who have that much of a chance of catching her, so just depends on which Lakeview Emily turns up.
That's it. Speed is her biggest asset, Smithy. We've known she's been up and down at times, but when she's got it right, she's an absolute rocket.
Yeah, exactly right. When she nails the start, there's not many dogs that can run the sectionals that she can run. We see her here from box number 1, where she breaks that 29-second barrier, that magical 29-second barrier at Sandown. She does that with just blistering early speed. She's got to go from box number 1 on that occasion to box number 5 here. Vincent Bale on her inside's not electric early, so can she get out and can she take on the likes of Hotel Whiskey 1, Flying Zulu, and even an Excavation coming across? She needs to. She probably needs to lead. Earlier on in her career, she showed a bit more strength in the run home, but now her go is nailing that start and taking off during the middle parts of the race.
Yeah, when she gets it right, she's oh so good. Don't you worry about that. Okay, box 6 will be Dacey's Rory Molly, who of course won the Flame Up in Queensland, represented Racing Queensland in the Phoenix. The fairy tale was almost complete. He ran a really good race, but now he's got another opportunity at the Meadows in the Temlee.
Without a doubt. I don't think we can underestimate the, I suppose, work it takes to actually get a greyhound down from Queensland or anywhere throughout Australia to come and race here in Victoria. So I think huge kudos there. But look, this greyhound is in great form at the moment. I reckon only a couple of unplaced starts in the last 11 of his career, but this is the next level, the next step. He did well in the Phoenix, but this is a whole nother level here.
Yep, indeed it is. So he'll line up from box 6, and Smithy's a grain, has got a lot of early pace. He's not going to be as quick overall as what many of these are, but as we've seen time after time in some of these big races, early pace is everything.
He's a dog that's really consistent through all 3 sectionals of the race. We see him from box number 4 here in the Queensland Flame, where this is the race that brought him down to Victoria for the first time, where he participated in that Phoenix and probably had his doubters, but you can see how tough he is. You can see how much he wants to win, and you can see how much of his desire goes into going past these dogs and getting the job done. Kia Kaha, who he beats here, Magistrate, who's also in the race, they're both tough dogs, but this dog, Dacey's Rory, he's gritty, and probably leading up to the Phoenix, a lot of people thought that he wasn't up to that sort of class. Well, since then, he's gone on to even bigger and better things. He's running fast times, he's being tough, he's showing that he is a dog that can win from any draw, and he'll probably stay up the track a little bit as well. So I don't think box number 6 is going to be any hindrance to him.
And of course, producing a smile for his own, a 90-year-old Claude Dacey, who's enjoying the success of Dacey's Rory since he's joined at Tommy Zavella's camp. Now to highlight the runner from box 7, that'll be Tim Zhu, the reigning Australian Cup champion. Molly's a powerhouse, but the draw's going to be tricky.
Without a doubt, and look, another contender for the Thompsons there. This is a greyhound though who is in great form at the moment. He's had 3 outstanding wins just behind this start in the Temlee, and I do think that being drawn out wide, especially outside of Dacey's Rory, is going to make it really, really tough for the Thompsons to pick up a Temlee with this dog.
He's got a big ownership group, so there'll be no shortage of fans there at the Meadows on Saturday night. But Smithy's strength looks to be from inside draws, but there has been times where he's been awkwardly drawn and made us all look foolish, gone straight to the front, ran good time. Didn't have to do it on this occasion in the match race on Phoenix night.
I almost feel bad talking over the top of this race because it just speaks for itself. It's a match race, of course, on Phoenix night. It was Tim Zhu versus Field Day. Both of them just going hammer and tongs down the back here. Field Day gets the better of him, but he just shows this toughness. He's about to take off here, Tim Zhu, and he's about to punch up and take that inside run. He's tough, he's gritty, but he's got that absolute superstar sort of class about him, and he's a dog that can run fast times. As you said, box number 1 on that occasion, probably aided. He goes to box number 7, but he's a dog that if he gets down to the rail and gets himself into the top 3 or 4, he's going to make his presence felt. So you can never discount him, but I think it's going to be tough from that wide draw.
Class act he is, Tim Zhu. Now for the last runner of this Temlee preview, and that's another Thompson runner in Excavation. Will jump from box 8, and Molly was great in the Top Gun last year, and box 8 probably doesn't look to be a bad thing.
Absolutely. I think I've heard Jason say before that he really doesn't mind Excavation from box 8, but I think the question mark for me on Excavation is we've only seen him once since that Phoenix run. He ran second at Bendigo. He still looked like a great dog, there is no doubt about that, but you just never know exactly how a dog's going to go into a race after being sparingly raced ahead of that. But in saying that, he's coming from the Thompson camp, so he's obviously primed and ready to go.
He was dominant in that Top Gun win. We're going to take a look at that right now, Smithy. And I guess there was others of, high profile in this field, but he made them look silly pretty quick.
Yeah, well, most people were probably thinking Explicit was going to be able to dominate for the Thompson camp. That's him from the wide draw trying to get across. Couldn't quite get there, but it was Excavation that showed that blistering early speed, and he just put them to the sword down the back. He's a dog that generally needs to lead to win. Box number 8 is not ideal for that, but if he does nail the start and if he can get across, they're just not going to catch him. He runs 29.52 on this occasion. This was in the top handful of times that we've seen at the Meadows in recent times, and he just extends away from a really, really high calibre field, and these one-off races for Excavation, I think they really suit him.
Yep, indeed, and who can forget that runner-up performance against Sunset Fraser in his Melbourne Cup heat, which did come from a wide draw as well, so certainly knows how to handle that. Of course, the 2 reserves for this Temlee will be Morton and also Scalacci, but now the all-important time for our opinion, if it matters, of to who's going to win the Temlee. Molly Haines, first to you, who will be taking home the trophy on Saturday night?
I think it's really hard to go past Flying Zulu for me. He's a greyhound who's got a great record from box 1, and I think when you've got the cherry in a group race like this, you really need to take advantage of it. He's got the Thompson name beside him as well, so Flying Zulu for me.
He's going to be a big contender, no two ways about that. Corey Smith, which way are you leaning for the Group 1 Temlee on Saturday?
I was all over the shop when we did the box draw patch. I was trying to figure it all out. Hotel Whiskey one likes to use a little bit of the track day. Sees Rory will stay off the track. There's a little bit of speed sprinkled everywhere. 1, 3, 5 and 8, but I've landed with Smooth Plane. This is a dog that I think box number 2 is just going to be able to smoke the pipe on the rail, and he's just going to take off. And he's so strong, and he does not care if there's a dog in front of him. He'll go round him, he'll go under him, he'll go through him if he needs to. He's tough, and I think he's going to be the hardest one to beat.
Elite operator is he. I'm with Excavation. I think the draw really suits him. And look, with one like Tim Zoo on his inside, there's going to be room to move. So I've loved the way he's performed from wide draws. And I think, look, when he does get clear, he's absolutely capable of running a time that's Temlee winning time, and he can join that honour roll. Illustrious honour roll that we saw at the start of this preview. That's how the Temlee looks for 2025. We can't wait for that to be run and won this Saturday night. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with a preview for the Group 1 Zoom Top.